All right, we're back, and it's still Crossfire with Dakbo and Ishoma. It's a Friday morning, and thank God it's Friday. We'll quickly, as much as possible and as time will permit, we'll take a few comments on the story making headlines before we go into our topic for today, and that is saying, is peace in PDP problem for APC? And we have a guest in the studio who will be helping to elucidate and, just throw more light and enlighten us what the new development in PDP is going to, is going to make them achieve, or probably is going to give, a problem to the ruling party, the APC. We have Professor Chris Nwokobia Jr. in the studio with us. Prof, good morning. Good to have you on Crossfire today.
Good morning, Dr. It's my pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure to be here.
Boss, you actually advised me the last time we saw that my beards were quite heavy and I should, put it down. But yours seems to be heavier than mine now.
Are you serious?
Yes.
There's a beard competition going on here.
Perhaps I'll do something about it.
All right. Prof, good morning. Good to have you in the studio. And let's quickly take your thoughts and, on some of the story making headlines. Now, over the weekend, we had a very major flooding issue in about 16 states of the Federation. And I'm beginning to wonder why the federal government will have to do an intervention, for states again, to ensure that flooding and flood-related issues, do not ravage, these states any longer. And to this effect, about 1.6 billion naira intervention fund was released to about 16 states, to help. And the federal government has approved this immediate release, though not directly this time around to the state government, but to NEMA, to mitigate against, flooding going forward. Do you think this is a right step in the right direction? What are the states doing really and truly in their own capacity to ensure that there's no flooding in their states?
But the first thing to note is that we have a problem both at the national level, a structural problem, a problem at the state level, a structural problem, and then worse still, we have the problem that stems from the people. You have building laws, you have planning laws, and people infringe on them, people throw waste everywhere, and the drainages are blocked, and government is lazy with respect to clearing environments. The people are lazy with respect to clearing environments. And that was a potpourri, is a mishmash of issues. And I think that the chief issue, the chief cause of all this, and that's why I was smiling when you talked about the 1.6 billion naira bailout. And the reason is you have a structure that does not encourage hard work, industry, and competency. And I say that advisedly. That is why when things like this happen, states and local governments that should take responsibility look up to Abuja. Of the 16 federal republics in the world, we're the only one that runs this way. We're the only ones who are not true to what we say on paper. We're the only ones who have a center that is meddlesome, unwieldy, unworking, and unworkable. We're the only ones who want to continue to manage it. And that is why perhaps if a state catches cold, it looks to the federal government. If there's an electricity pole that falls over a highway, it waits for the federal government. It's a tragedy of sorts. And I think that more than ever before, the time for this federal government and leadership to understand that we cannot continue to run like this is now. You want to bail out everything, you bail out states for paying. When states in actuality have resources buried in their territory that will give them so much money. I told you once here that a state like Nasarawa finds it difficult to pay salaries, but it has about 34 mineral resources in its soil. Kaduna about 30 mineral resources, just Plateau State about 32 mineral resources, and across the country. It's embarrassing, Dakbo, to find out that we even have leaders who do not know what they own. I heard Umahi of Ebonyi State say that the reason he's a bit suspect about restructuring is that Ebonyi State may not be able to survive. And if you look at statistics, you find out that Ebonyi alone can feed the whole of southern Nigeria with rice. Ebonyi has aluminium. Ebonyi has mineral resources. Ebonyi has tin. Ebonyi has until recently, about the biggest cement factory in this country. And then you ask yourself, does these governors not interrogate what they have in their space? There is, no state in this country that cannot sustain itself. The unfortunate thing is that we have a structure that has encouraged laziness, has left this country bare-chested states, but beggarly appendages and adjuncts of the center. Nothing seems to work because we have a structure that doesn't.
But aside the structure, Professor Chris, aside the structure which you have pointed out is faulty, we do not quite have accountability also on the part of the state. And literally, we can say we do not even have a viable local government. Because at the end of the day, states have mortgaged.
It still comes back to the structure.
No, but then at what point should we also apportion blame to the state?
What creates, or what measure is the federal government using now, at the moment, as we speak, to create a check and balances for either deficiency or excesses of the state government?
Where in the world does the federal government check the excesses of the states?
We should make an exception in Nigeria.
Should be devolved. Power should be devolved. The constituent units has constituent assemblies that should check them. It is because we have a structure that is defective, that's why we think this way. The federal government doesn't have to check what happens in Ibuzo. The state government and the local government should do that. The federal government doesn't have to supply newspapers to the federal government college in Ibuzo. The federal government doesn't have to supply newspapers to the federal government college in Ijaniki. It's not done anywhere. Until we decide to address the fundamentals, we will continue to think, I keep saying that, I wish my dad was here. He would say the word, he would tell me, we almost always keep our brains in the refrigerator and think differently when we should think rightly. I think that the time has come for us to address it. What about the states? That's what we grew up knowing, that everybody's property is nobody's concern, nobody's property. There is something incumbent on ownership. That's what we lost when we messed up our structure. That's why you're more inclined to take care of your shoe than the shoe you see outside. And so if you devolve power, you find out that the states will build the roads. You find out that this erosion everywhere in the southeast will diminish because the local governments will ask the states to account for the monies they get from them. But now Abuja owns everything, everybody's property. And so what does it do? Encourages laziness, encourages graft, encourages stealing, and people are talking about mind reset. How do you reset it? That's why the scriptures, the Holy Scripture says that if the foundation be faulty, if the foundation is defective, what can the righteous, those who have mind reset,
exactly,
those wonderful characters,
now, so that we don't take so much time on this story. Now, I have a question to ask before we leave this story. Lagos State, for instance, last year, some group of people took Lagos State to court on the, monthly environmental sanitation. Yeah. And the information in the public domain is that they won the case, and so the state cancelled the monthly environmental sanitation. Before that time, we have not recorded, Lagos State has not recorded the level of flooding that we saw a few days ago. That's number one. Number two, the state government also stopped the PPP, that is the private sector participation in waste management that Loma was sitting on, and given, and changed entirely, the process. And the people who have invested heavily in waste management, in partnering with the state, are aggrieved. And they are still complaining up till now. Don't you think all of this is culminating into the environmental, environmental issues that we have at the moment in Lagos State? Now
that brings accountability at the state level.
No, let me say this. Ishoma, you are attempting and you're trying to force accountability on the discourse. But yes, you got the right to your opinion. But let me say this, Blackball. We almost always try to pass buck. If the court of law says no declaring restrictions of movement on a certain Saturday for sanitation, why not find a way around it? Why not perhaps say to Lagosians, we have a law, so we won't break the law, but you have to do this, try and ensure that you have cleaning exercises, and then you get your sanitary officials to supervise. You must not restrict movement to have On Thursdays, those market traders do their cleaning. You should be able to find someone.
Prof, the point is that
now that's for the law, the court judgment. So I won't blame Ebu Edeburu, my friend, and the others who went to court about it. I think that the time has come for us to understand that it is not just about everything in this country that you have to restrict movement. I don't know about restriction of movement for elections in Ghana, for elections in Benin Republic, for elections in Cameroon. This is the only country where you do that within the sub-region, and I don't think it's right. I think we must look for a way to get by it. I don't think that it is right to restrict movement for sanitation, which will make it a part of our lives. That is why I think that government should teach the people, national orientation, teach the people that cleanliness is next to godliness. Teach the people that a healthy body is a healthy mind, is in a healthy body, and a healthy body thrives in a clean environment. Teach the people to do what is right, trite, and proper. Once you do that, you see, all these blame games will die
point is that
naturally.
the people who have invested into a lot into the sector today are fast losing their investment. Now, in my area,
the court of law, they should go to the court of law.
In my area, there's a particular, how will I put it? A client that we patronize who comes around to pick our waste on a regular basis. They stop coming.
And
so where do you expect the people to dispose of their waste? How do you? Where do we put it? On the long run, you put it by the side of your house, and then the rain comes and then flushed everything into the gutters.
Interestingly, that's why we're in the public domain here, and that's what we're doing, calling the state government to take proactive steps. You don't think that Loma can do the work alone. You know, all over the world you have PPP, private sector participation in such issues. So allow those you have licensed before now to do their jobs, get a clean Lagos and get our drainages clean. I think that the time has come for us to be proactive in what we do. Governance must be elevated beyond partisanship. Governance must be elevated beyond clanship. Governance must be elevated above ethnocentric thinking and debates. And that is why I do sincerely think that the government of Lagos State and several other states must look the way of engaging private partners in ensuring that we have clear.
Okay, before we go on our next break, do you think that INEC has done well to stop the proceedings of recalling Senator Dino Melaye? I mean, this is an issue that has been on for a while, but unfortunately, INEC came out yesterday to declare that, however, preparing to take immediate steps to have the order vacated as it conflicts with the Commission's rule as an independent election management body. I think something is wrong somewhere, Prof. Don't you think so?
That was getting curiouser and curiouser. You know, we live in a country where everything is subjected to the banner of political correctness and the likes. And then we live, like the late Abami Eda fella Anikula Lakmokuti would say, it perhaps appears like paddy government and paddy paradigms and practices. And I say this advisedly. You remember that they say that the witch cried last night and the child dies this morning. Yeah. And then you ask yourself, I heard that about 2-3 days ago, the Senate committee began a probe on TED Fund. And we heard that the immediate past chairman of TED Fund is actually the present chairman of INEC. Yes. You know, so perhaps they've dangled something he just does not want in the public space. And then he goes back house and says to his man, we got to stop this, because if we don't stop this, I'm in trouble. Yeah. You know, so it's about paddy. It's about it's very unfortunate. A miscellany of sort.
It's very unfortunate.
Politicians and politicians playing politics with everything and mouthing a different thing and doing a different thing. You know, I was telling my brothers out there before I got on set here that for about 2 years and a few months, we've done more talking than action. More talking than governance. We have mounted anti-corruption to the high heavens. And what goes on is a miscellany of deceit, a jambalaya of chicanery, and what I barely can... I can't find words for it. Benumbing, nonplussing, bewildering and troubling. I think that the time has come for us to address issues fundamentally.
Okay.
And the Nigerian people must take their destinies in their hands, address fundamental issues, interrogate leadership, and ask questions. You just don't overlook the fact that INEC told us yesterday, and I'm speaking in aphorisms here, told us yesterday that there's no going back about the recall.
Yeah.
INEC wakes up this morning.
And a few hours after, yeah.
INEC wakes up this morning and tells us we're not going on. And then you ask yourself what INEC will do tomorrow. I think that the time has come for us to interrogate leadership.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is how far we'll go on taking comments on stories making headlines. We have a very, very interesting topic of discussion, and you don't want to go anywhere. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll be talking about peace in PDP, problem for APC. We'll be right back after now. Join us again. All right, we're back, and thanks for staying with us. Is Dapo and Ishoma on Crossfire. We have Professor Chris Nwokobia Jr. in the studio with us, and we're discussing peace in PDP, problem in APC. Is this actually the position? Is this the situation? All of us know that something very dramatic happened a few days ago, where the Alimodu Sherif factor of the PDP was eventually ruled against by the Supreme Court, installing the Ahmed McCarthy faction as the substantive leadership for the PDP, the outgone ruling party. Now, the problem is that before now, there have been a lot of agitations that even 2019 we're going to have any form or something that looks like a very competitive election if we don't have a political party that can give the level of competition we expect in an election like the type we're expecting in 2019. But fortunately, the PDP seems to be getting it right. APC seems to be jottled and afraid and jittery, hoping that the PDP will eventually come up with a formidable team that will effect a change in 2019 elections. Prof, I mean, this is my submission. I stand to be corrected. I think PDP seems to be getting their act right. And I think the APC is fast losing their composure and their composition. And if care is not taken, 2019 will turn out to be a very dramatic, intriguing, and interesting election in Nigeria.
And here's where I take that one. Who says that 2019 is the year of the APC or the PDP?
Exactly.
Who says that these two, Leviathan and the Behemoth, would survive the re-engineering in the political space, where Nigerians are saying that they want a new order, a new tendency, and
we
a new
said that
paradigm.
in 2015.
But that's actually why a party that was barely under 2 years old defeated an incumbent. So we're saying that again. And that tells you that it is a possibility that a new party can outperform and outwit the two parties in 2019. So you're confirming the same thing.
But when it comes to building a strong opposition, do you think a new party has all it takes to be a strong opposition?
And we have less than 2 years to the 2019 elections.
Between 2014 and 2015, and when the APC got its act together, it's a shorter distance than between now and 2019. So the answer is in our history, and our immediate past history.
Yeah, but then there were some factors.
Since the APC could rise and take out the PDP after being in power for 16 years, a new party, a new tendency can do that if the APC does not sit up. That's point number one. Then point number two, direct response to the topic. Peace in PDP, problem for APC. I really don't think so. Okay. That was just like telling me that 6 will fight half a dozen. You know, when the crisis and the conflict becomes too deep, some of the 6 will move to some of the half of the dozen. And so it's always been like that. We have seen that in 17 years of a democratic experience. We still might see that, a lot of that, in the next 2 years. That is why, remember that about 3 years ago, the Senate President and some of his men were in the PDP. And 3 years after, they are effectively in the APC. So I think that most often we make mistakes when we try to really draw a line amongst these two major parties. I believe that until, and that is if APC wakes up to the reality of its manifesto, I'm being deeper now, that if APC works in tandem with the provisions of its manifesto, then you can say that the APC is a progressive party in actuality. And then when you say that, then we can now begin to truly differentiate between the PDP and the APC. But as it stands today, we've seen the party chairman of our dear party, the APC, denies certain programmatics in the manifesto of the party. He came to the public the other day to say restructuring is not part of the immediate challenges of the APC, but it is in the manifesto, and it was part of the campaign
They
and the
meant
electoral process.
cognitive restructuring,
But we have heard several words, and Nigerians are
reorientation of the Nigerian people.
Are an interesting lot. Nigerians are an interesting lot. Let me tell you, the first time the word restructuring was used in English language and in the English dictionary was in 1942, and it simply means what? Changing, reworking the structure of a thing. And in Nigeria, suddenly, we now have new definitions and new inclusions to that word. I think that the word is clear enough. It says reorganizing the structure, not the mind, the structure, not the mindset, the structure. And we have a structure that is defective, meddlesome, unwieldy, unworking, and unworkable. And what we must do is address it. And, well, interestingly, the different segments and geopolitical zones in this country are beginning to buy into it. Yesterday, the Arewa came out and said they are in support of restructuring, and just about every sector of this country. But the party should have led the way because it is part of the manifesto. And that's exactly why today's topic is interesting for me, because just a few days ago, Ahmed Makrefi came tops at the Supreme Court. He won in the court. So the PDP now has a chairman, and he's the chairman. They moved into Wadata House. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, now we have a credible opposition. But do you truly buy into that? I seem not to.
I see defectors coming back home. I see defectors coming back home.
Those who decamped to the APC going back to the PDP.
Yes.
It will create an interesting dance in shame, dance of Makaba. It will create an interesting flow and air of shamelessness if somebody who decamped a few months ago goes back again. And then, but of course, you know the Nigerian political space. But I think that the time has come for the Nigerian people to understand that what we have is not necessarily a battle between two big parties.
I think that's what we have, Prof.
No, it is a conflict between the people, the ordinary people, and the political class. And until we understand that, until we organize along those lines, until we deepen our debates along those lines, our search for the new republic will be like a wait for Godot. You know, our march towards progress will be stunted
Prof.
and circuitous. I think that the time has come for the Nigerian people to begin to interrogate leadership at all levels.
No,
I think at this moment, sorry, Ishama, I think at this point we need to understand the PDP, the APC in 2015 came out with a very strong mantra, the change mantra. Everybody believed in the change mantra. People went for it. People voted for it. Up until now, people are still expecting that the promises, the campaign promises, the manifesto should be the watchword.
That's right.
But the APC seems not to have kept to their words. And people are beginning to wonder, okay, maybe not. They will be able to perform or give enough reason for people to re-elect them in 2019. But let's quickly come back home and look at it this way. In other climes and climates, we have political parties, 1,001 political parties, but it appears on election days as if we have a two-party system.
2, 3 dominant
Exactly, where you have 2 or 3 dominant parties, you know, really active in the elections. And so I still see that play out in 2019.
Sure.
And the strongest opposition as at today is still the PDP. Now, my question is this. The PDP is restructuring. I believe that the restructuring is already taking place and is creating a level of fear in the mind of the ruling party, saying, if we do not perform now, peradventure, people will have no reason to want to follow us again in 2019. One, we have an ailing president. Number 2, we have a lot of opposition against the acting president. Number three, we have an APC dominant, National Assembly that seems to be fighting the executive arm of government. Can't you see there's a lot of problem in APC as a governing party that they have to deal with internally, given a lot of strength to the PDP to strategize and then come up with a winning formula for 2019?
Fantastic prognosis, beautiful analysis. But let me say this, that there's a litany of conflict everywhere. A National Assembly, as it were, like you noted, dominated by the ruling party, but yet a daggers drawn with the ruling party, with the executive. You have the issues about poor management of details regarding the health of our dear president.
Exactly.
And then, but I disagree with the issue about the cacophony of discontent or protest against the acting president. I disagree with that part because I know that what I have seen in the public domain is that quite a lot of Nigerians are saying, why not give full powers to him? Let him take absolute control. Let the president perhaps resign or pass through full executive powers because people actually believe that the vice president is doing well. But let me say this, Dapo, that the APC as a party in power isn't doing fantastic. And the party knows that. I've even heard leaders of a party who are coming out to say that if we continue this way, we just might as well bid goodbye to 2019. And that's the truest truism you can throw up on the space. But let me say this, that the PDP for me is really not any threat to anybody. You know why? 7 reasons. If you want me to reel them out one by one, 16 years, no power. 16 years, corruption. 16 years, poor educational facilities. 16 years, poor infrastructure. 16 years, a party drawn at daggers with itself. 16 years, after 16 years, they couldn't even do opposition. 16 years, poor infrastructure. 16 years, they organized 2 confabs.
What
the one of
to
Obasanjo.
corruption?
No, please, 16 years they organized 2 confabs. The one of Obasanjo and the one of Jonathan. They didn't do anything with it. It's been 16 years of chicanery, a miscellany of sorts. And then you ask me, Nigerians will buy the PDP hubris in 2019? I don't think so. I think that Nigerians will coalesce under a third force if this situation continues like this. Nigerians will coalesce, and the ordinary people, like it happened in Canada, like it happened in France, will, rather than agonize, organize and come up with a new movement that will take power from this political class in 2019. I'm confident about that, much more than about the PDP restructuring, than about the PDP fixing its house. It's going to be next week another trouble. Watch out. I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm not a clairvoyant, but I'm a student of history. It's going to be 2 weeks, 2 troubles for the PDP, and perhaps 1 week, 1 trouble for the APC, and 2 weeks, 2 troubles for the APC. Because until you make the Nigerian people the essence of leadership, every effort, that what the universe is just. Let me give you 2 quick instances. When the Falake issue and Audu came up, and against due process and what is predictably right, the Supreme Court, of course we know how it happens here now, the Supreme Court, Dino Melaya and co. join hands to get a Bello as governor. What is happening today?
You're a loggerhead.
No, they are loggerheads, yes.
You want more instances? It's happening everywhere. The Obiano, P2B scenario in Edo State is about playing it out. The Oshomole, the Obaseki scenario. And then that boy is everywhere. When immediately after this government got into place and some people decided to treat Tinubu as pariah and refused his advice as to how to ensure that the party gets loyal members as leadership of the National Assembly, and they decided to throw his advice away and throw his nominees out. What has happened between the executive and the legislature in terms of relationship? The witch cried last night, the child dies this morning. What we have is the justice of the universe. What you sow, you reap. Until men at different levels, at all levels, learn to be true to what they profess and true to their conscience and true to truth, they naturally will have the law of karma, nemesis, and all that lock around. because the universe is just. And I think that the time has come for those who should pretend our political space to understand that what the Nigerian people, what they owe the Nigerian people is good service, food, shelter, and the best of amenities.
But then, gentlemen, you look at now, both of you have painted beautiful scenarios. The people out there on the streets who suffer various calamities and hardship due to the ineptitudeness of the government, previous and present, know that they want something different. They know they want a government that represents the interests of Nigerians. Now, don't you think at this point in time there may be a bigger problem in the form where you have political key players defecting from the APC, the PDP, into new parties, thereby corrupting that system, and then unfortunately the people will be left hopeless?
No, I think that fear is tenable. That argument is profound. But the third force, the third element will come from the people.
Okay.
You know, it's not going to be like just every other party. It's going to be people-driven. You know, it happens all over the world. When I give you, I'm going to go historical. It happens all over the world. When the political class consolidates, sediments, and turns itself to some kind of igneous rock, a movable rock, the people, the downtrodden, the left outs, the grass, you know, they say when two elephants fight, like the PDP and APC, the grass suffers. The grass coalesces, reorganizes, and says, never ever again. That's why you can have an under 40, a Macron, telling France that it's Le Marché, a new order, and coming to take power. That's why you will have a Trudeau come to Canada and take power. That's why you have a 38-year-old in Northern Ireland. People are waking up to the reality of now, and they're saying never ever again to a political class that cares just about themselves.
Do you think Nigeria, I am not sure that Nigeria is right for it.
That's why I knew you were going to ask me that.
People will
we
still,
are right for it. Let me tell you why.
I don't think so. There is poverty in the land. People are impoverished.
Six reasons.
People are impoverished.
6 reasons again.
They can't send their children to school. They can't
You're not
afford
giving me the reasons
meals.
why you think Nigerians are right. You're just saying that now.
No. I'm saying that when they come in 2019 with 1,000 naira stomach infrastructure, they will still get away with it.
Well, let me say this. It was a great American president, Abraham Lincoln, on whom Americans elevated the Lincoln Memorial, that said to Americans that you can fool all of the people some of the time, all of the people some of the time, some of the people all of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. And the great reggae artist, one I love so much, Robert Nesta Marley, did a great song with it. I think that Dakbo, almost always, when we say that, oh, this is Nigeria, so Nigeria's consistently proven that practice wrong. When in 2014, 2015, we said that the APC could win the elections, people said, oh, it has never happened. It happened. The same way in 2019, the Nigerian people will organize and stop agonizing and rally around a figure that believes in our Nigerianness. Rally around a figure that believes that what affects the man in Karunamuda affects him directly. What affects the man in Ibuzo indirectly affects him directly. What affects the man in Ekat directly affects him indirectly. And what affects the woman in Oyo affects him indirectly. When they find such persona, when they find such passionate character, they will rally around
but
him.
Then
the truth is that the time for a new order is here.
But
the
then,
truth is that Nigerians are asking for a new dispensation, a new paradigm, a new republic, and a new tendency.
Let's just suppose good governance and restructuring. The essence of winning an election is to move a country forward, is to is to just better the lives of the people. Now, if the PDP tomorrow wakes up with a mantra of restructuring, that is going to be what we are going to do, and the entire nation is already clamoring for that. The APC, they are fast running away from the fact that that is the way to go. The acting president still came out yesterday. Everybody seems to be, I really don't know why the APC do not want to restructure. I don't know why they have refused to call for a referendum. I wouldn't know why they have refused to bring the last, report and then probably look into it and see what they can, the confab report, and see what they can inject to better the lives. Do you think people are calling for restructuring because there is no good governance? If good governance should come from the APC, And the restructuring, the call for restructuring come from the PDP. What do you see in 2019?
Dakbo, I'm going to shock you. If you bring the best of men, those who are well-intentioned and the best of technocrats and the best of experts, and put them on this structure, they won't give you good governance. So what we need is to restructure. The best of men, if the foundation be faulty, what can the righteous do? Are you going to keep tarring roads in Karunamuda and tarring roads in Eket in the name of federal government? Are you going to produce and provide primary health care in Ibuzo and provide it in Berenin Kebi in the name of federal government? Are you going to be involved in everything and you think you will succeed?
Prof.
Too many cookies does what?
Prof, yes,
Too many
it spoils the cooking. It spoils the cooking. Prof,
you know,
I have a challenge.
Yes.
My challenge is that we still have the same crop of people. The same crop of people. Now, those are the people we are trusting in restructuring. Those are the same set of people we are trusting in restructuring on.
That argument is the limit.
I don't think so.
I have heard that argument again and again.
It's the most applicable and practicable.
No, let me just, you know, I want to debunk it, and God willing, I can do that effectively. That's why I dead people. That argument is the lamest, because I'll give you 3 reasons why. Before independence, Zik, Awo, Akinjide, and the others were indicted for corruption before independence. When we got independence, we had the independence constitution that spelled out certain normatives. These same individuals came, and all the zones performed excellently. It's about structure, Dakbo. You know, Zik was born in Nigeria, the same way I am, the same way you are. Awo, the others.
Let's quickly take this.
The only thing that made them succeed was the structure. And the only thing that is making this generation fail is a flawed structure.
All right.
So that argument is lame.
We'll argue that out. Let's take this call. Let's take this call from Akwa Ibom. All right? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Now, I puncture.
Okay, we have Loveline from Makurdi.
Okay, hello, Loveline. Hello. Okay.
Please do call us back.
Now, this is my concern. I puncture your argument.
Lamest argument.
No, I don't think so.
Lamest argument.
It is not.
That's why I said
very
people like Obasanjo should spare us. They messed up our country and they're telling me restructuring of the mind. You want me to tell you?
No, it's not about the restructuring of the mind. Okay, let's take this call. Do we have a caller there? Okay, now this is my argument. My argument, Prof, is that one, the people calling for the restructuring, we have the peace movement, led by former president of Nigeria.
Go on?
No.
Babangida?
No.
Which of them? They've all joined the restructuring call.
Anyway, all of them seems to be singing the same song.
They're born again.
Yes. Abubakar.
Touched perhaps by an angel.
All of them.
Touched by the Holy Spirit, if you like.
All of them seems to be asking for restructuring, and that is because the APC has not delivered on their promises. That is why the agitation for
the APC couldn't have
let's take this call.
With this kind of faulty structure.
Okay, hello.
They should restructure.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for calling. Let's take your thought.
Nice analysis you people are doing, but I will disagree with Mr. Chris Mwakobia. Let's face reality. The present people in government have failed.
Totally.
Why did they fail?
They failed woefully. After 2 years and 2 months, there's nothing to show. Come on, let's be realistic. I don't belong to any political party. But the truth of the matter is the APC government has failed. I'm not saying that the PDP actually succeeded in making this country great in the past 16 years. But at least we need adjustment. That adjustment needs, at least, come on. APC came with the promise of making a complete change. But for Christ's sake, let's face it. They failed and they know they failed. And just like the way that was saying, if they don't put their heads together, there's going to be a big problem in 2019. I'm not saying we're going to have a problem, but definitely there will be a twist. There will be a twist unless if the right thing is done at the moment. God bless you now.
Thank you very much, Ken.
No, but I don't know where he disagrees. I don't know where he disagrees.
No, I will tell you. I will tell you.
Disagree.
Hello, good morning, Makurdi.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Please, I want to contribute on the program. I'm not...
Go ahead. Go ahead, lovely.
Hello?
Go ahead, Loveling. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, please. I'm fine.
Can you turn down the volume of your TV so you can hear
Okay.
us well?
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you. Please, and thank you for what people are doing. People are doing a good job.
You're welcome.
But all these things people are saying, the important people are not getting it. That's the truth. We have been watching your program for long, but everything that is happening is still happening. Prof has said it all. The main thing that's supposed to happen is they should start from the local government and the state government. Because they're talking about bailouts. They have sent bailouts to state government. But the state government are still owing teachers.
Exactly.
So I want people to try. If you have the connection.
They are watching, Lovely.
Hello?
They are watching. Go ahead.
Yes, if you have the connection to meet the people, as in our head of the president or the one heading now. If you can meet them, and if you can beg them to come to the show, people will love it when they say it and will know that they are going to do it.
All right, Lovely. All right. I mean, we call them, but
you,
they keep running away from, it's part of responsibility. Let's take this other call from Jude. Hello, Jude.
Hello, good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
I hope you are not calling from Lekki.
No.
Okay. All right, let's take your thoughts. Quick.
To my own suggestion, I think the APC have really failed. They failed this country so lot. So I think PDP will bring back Nigeria to the right path.
Anyway, he just felt it out. I mean,
That's his opinion.
That's his opinion. He just felt it out. Let me tell you something.
Thank
the
you,
APC,
Jude.
made promises that they have not kept. We have given them time, to make amends. People have tolerated them. People have been patient with them.
Can you let me talk? That's why I'm your guest.
All right.
You know why I laughed? One party is in power for less than 3 years. And quote unquote, some are saying it's impossible for them to deliver. Another was in power for 16 years and failed to deliver. And so soon in the day, oh, what a tangled web we.
Do you know people always feel that even though the PDP failed to do a lot of things over the 16 years, but they still provided good governance, kind of.
They didn't provide any governance.
That is what sort of, that's your opinion, Prof. That is your opinion.
Let me give you facts. I deal on facts.
Okay.
I'm not emotive and emotional here.
Say it very quickly because we don't have time.
$62 billion. $62 billion was spent on electricity in 16 years. We don't have power that more. Our educational and medical sector is comatose.
How will a third party?
You said we're going to allow me.
Okay.
Now, everything has been taken over by the same people, and some of them have joined the APC, some of them are still in the PDP, and you're telling me, come on, we should tell Nigerians the truth.
Who will form the third party? Who are the people who are going to form the third party?
You sincerely and several other people. Nigerians are waking up to the reality.
Where did you put Godfatherism?
Ordinary people.
Where did you put Godfatherism? If you do not deal with them, you don't get there.
At 46, I have a daughter who's working.
I'm
now
telling
listen,
you the truth.
At 46, do I need a father?
Why not?
My father
money politics?
I don't need a godfather.
Money politics?
Nigerians will galvanize and raise funds for the redemption. Nigerians will do it.
Anyway.
Therefore, like my mentor Martin Luther King Jr. would say, over my head I see redemption. Over my head I see freedom.
That was what this was the song we sang in 2014, 2015.
And now what are we going to sing? We're singing because we're the pilots of this vehicle.
Okay.
We're not handing over this vehicle to another generation of people.
Okay.
Our generation will take charge of this vehicle.
We thought we had that generation in Jonathan. We thought we had that generator in Jonathan.
No, we didn't. Jonathan was a chip of the same old political gang.
Now we are saying that. Is that what we are saying right now?
That's what I said in 2014.
We thought it was a youth president to represent and take us to where we are going.
I said that in 2014,
yes.
And that's what I'm saying now. I've consistently said that we need a break from a gerontocracy and a tendency that does not care about us. And I do sincerely believe that the time has come for the Nigerian people to take their destinies in their hands.
I don't see it happen, Prof. I don't see it happen.
It's going to happen.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Join us next week. And
with us.
Just follow up as the art is coming up. You can see
To enjoy more of these our ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.